Imagine opening your eyes in the morning knowing something unusual. Today, you'll eat only once. No familiar smell of breakfast drifting through the room. No quick snack to push you through the afternoon. No comforting dinner waiting at night. Just one meal, one moment of eating. For many people, that idea feels almost impossible, even disturbing. Yet beneath that discomfort lies a biological secret, one science is only beginning to uncover. What if eating once a day isn't deprivation at all? What if it unlocks something ancient inside you? If you're curious about how your body truly works, consider subscribing, because what you're about to hear challenges everything we've been taught. Most people panic at the thought of missing a meal. From childhood, we've been warned that skipping breakfast is dangerous, that eating often keeps the metabolism alive and healthy. But what if that belief is incomplete? Human biology didn't evolve in a world of constant food. There were no refrigerators, no vending machines, no late-night snacks. Our ancestors hunted, gathered, waited, and often went long periods without eating. Scarcity wasn't an emergency, it was normal. And what if your body still remembers that rhythm? Eating once a day isn't just a test of discipline, it's a signal to your biology, a message that says conditions have changed. And in response, systems awaken that are rarely used in modern life. Energy shifts, focus sharpens, repair mechanisms quietly turn on. But what actually happens when your body realizes breakfast isn't coming? What internal switches flip when the usual schedule disappears? The answers are surprising, and they begin far sooner than most people expect. The first few hours without food feel uncomfortable. Your stomach tightens, thoughts drift toward eating, and a low-level unease creeps in. This isn't starvation, it's the alarm system activating. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, rises sharply, sending urgent messages to the brain. Find food. But this isn't true hunger yet, it's anticipation, a reflex built to keep you alert and alive. Then something unexpected happens. After several hours, the signals soften. The noise fades, the body realizes food isn't arriving immediately, and instead of weakening, it adapts. Hormones recalibrate, stored energy becomes accessible, the system reorganizes itself. Many people report clearer thinking, heightened awareness, and steady energy. Not exhaustion. This isn't coincidence, it's evolution. When food was uncertain, early humans needed sharper minds, not sluggish bodies. Mild hunger acted as a catalyst, increasing alertness and decision-making, an advantage encoded deep within our DNA. What feels uncomfortable to the modern mind feels familiar to ancient biology. What seems like deprivation is actually activation. Your body isn't failing, it's preparing. This raises a deeper question. Is hunger always a physical necessity, or has it become a learned behavior? Most people eat by the clock, not by true need. Breakfast at a certain hour, lunch at another. The body learns to expect food, whether it requires it or not. When that routine is interrupted, the brain resists, it craves the dopamine bursts tied to eating, the comfort, the habit, the emotional reward. But adaptation begins quickly. Studies show that within days of intermittent fasting, ghrelin patterns shift. Hunger becomes less chaotic. True physiological hunger separates itself from emotional craving. This reveals an uncomfortable truth. Modern humans aren't just fueled by food, we're stimulated by it. By eating once a day, the constant noise fades, and in that quiet, the body's real signals emerge. Hunger stops feeling like an enemy. It becomes information, a reminder that your body remembers a different way of surviving. As the hours pass without meals, blood sugar gradually declines. The body responds instantly. The liver releases stored glucose to keep energy stable. You don't collapse. You don't shut down. But as time stretches on, a deeper transformation begins. Sugar is no longer the primary fuel. Fat quietly takes over. This shift, known as metabolic flexibility, is one of the most powerful adaptations the human body possesses. And this is only the beginning. Instead of depending on a steady stream of food from the outside, your cells begin turning inward. They access energy that's been stored for months, sometimes years. For the first time in a long while, your body starts burning its own fat. Not because it's desperate, but because you finally allowed it to. As insulin levels fall, another shift takes place. Inflammation begins to ease. Tension inside the system slowly releases. Researchers have observed that lower insulin activity doesn't just affect weight. It improves mental sharpness, supports cellular repair, and restores metabolic balance. It's as if your body exhales after being stuck in overdrive for years. But this balance is fragile. Every calorie, every molecule of energy must now be carefully managed. Push too hard, move too fast, and the system can slide from adaptation into stress. This is where the fine line appears, the line between discipline and damage. Insulin acts like a silent director behind the scenes. Every time you eat, it floods the bloodstream, instructing cells to store energy. Day after day, meal after meal, insulin rarely gets a break. Eating once a day changes that. Insulin levels remain low for extended hours, allowing the body to exit storage mode and enter burn mode. Science shows that this improves insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells respond better when insulin is actually needed. This improved efficiency has been linked to reversing early metabolic dysfunction, lowering chronic inflammation, and potentially extending lifespan. By reducing how often you eat, you're not harming insulin. You're restoring its natural rhythm. But the shift isn't immediate. In the early days, resistance shows up. Fatigue, irritability, lightheadedness. These aren't warning signs, they're symptoms of recalibration. Your metabolism is relearning a skill it hasn't practiced in years, how to survive without constant input. And once insulin steadies, something subtle but powerful begins. Fat loss no longer feels forced. It happens with intention. You're no longer feeding nonstop. You're giving your body space to repair, to adapt, to function as it was designed to. If this process fascinates you, make sure you're subscribed, because what's happening inside your body right now is only the surface of a much deeper system. After prolonged hours without food, the body enters what scientists call metabolic switching. This isn't starvation, it's a calculated response. Hormones shift, cells adapt. The body stops waiting for fuel to arrive and starts producing it internally. Fat, once locked away, becomes the primary energy source. This is where things become truly remarkable. Inside your cells, the mitochondria, the engines responsible for energy, begin changing how they operate. They become better at burning fat instead of sugar, producing energy that's cleaner and more stable. Fewer energy spikes, fewer crashes, less oxidative stress. It's like upgrading from low-grade fuel to a refined, efficient power source. As the body adapts, the mind changes too. Many people describe this stage as calm focus. Mental noise quiets. The constant pull toward food weakens. This wasn't an accident of evolution. When food was scarce, our ancestors needed clarity, not weakness. Hunger sharpened attention. It didn't dull it. And astonishingly, that same mechanism still exists within you. Your body isn't deteriorating, it's reactivating. Hunger stops being a threat, it becomes instruction. When fat burning deepens, another process begins beneath the surface. The liver starts producing ketone bodies, alternative fuel molecules for the brain and muscles. These ketones are efficient, stable, and incredibly powerful. Instead of energy dropping, many people feel it rise. The brain, usually dependent on glucose, adapts quickly. It begins running on ketones with surprising efficiency. Research suggests this state may enhance focus, stabilize mood, and protect the brain from long-term degeneration. Some scientists even link it to reduced risk of conditions like Alzheimer's. It's like switching your biology to a faster, cleaner operating system. But even this transformation has a cost. And the discomfort you feel next is a signal, not of failure, but of something much deeper still unfolding. The early days aren't easy. Fatigue creeps in, irritability rises. Some experience headaches, weakness, or what's often called the keto flu. But once this transition passes, many people describe something unexpected: a sense of balance, steady energy, freedom from the constant cycle of sugar spikes and crashes. What's happening beneath the surface is nothing short of remarkable. Your body begins sustaining itself using what it already has. This isn't a flaw in human design, it's proof of evolutionary intelligence. Fat stores were never meant to be permanent weight, they were meant to be protection. A reserve system built to keep you alive when food was uncertain. Eating once a day doesn't break biology, it reminds it. Between roughly 16 and 20 hours without food, something extraordinary begins at the cellular level. A silent process activates, one most people never experience in modern life. Cells begin breaking down damaged components, faulty proteins, worn-out organelles, cellular debris, all dismantled and recycled. This process is called autophagy, which literally means self-cleaning. It's not a trend, it's ancient. In 2016, Japanese scientist Yoshinori Osumi received the Nobel Prize for revealing how this process works in humans. Autophagy is so essential that when it slows or fails, diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, and cardiovascular conditions gain ground. When activated through fasting, cells don't deteriorate, they renew. Think of it as internal maintenance, a deep clean performed molecule by molecule. Old components are cleared away. New, more efficient structures take their place. This isn't about appearance, it's about function. Constant eating leaves no room for repair. Fasting creates the space the body needs to fix what's been quietly breaking down. You may feel nothing dramatic on the surface, but internally, something profound is unfolding. A biological orchestra of renewal, one that scientists believe may play a key role in slowing aging itself. But hunger isn't just physical, it's psychological. When food disappears, the brain reacts instantly. Ancient survival circuits activate alongside emotional responses shaped by habit and comfort. At first, it feels chaotic. Mood swings, cravings, restlessness. Then something shifts. The brain begins adapting. Fasting increases levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, known as BDNF. This protein supports the growth of new neurons and strengthens existing connections. In simple terms, fasting trains the brain. Research suggests this state improves memory, learning, and resistance to stress. Many people practicing one-meal-a-day routines describe a calm clarity they didn't expect. Thoughts slow down, emotions stabilize. The constant mental noise tied to food fades. Hunger no longer dominates attention. You start noticing it without obeying it. In a world designed around instant gratification, learning to wait becomes powerful. Each hour without eating becomes a quiet exercise in discipline and awareness, not force, control. But this approach isn't without risk. While the body adapts impressively, not every system responds the same way. Some people experience persistent fatigue, low blood pressure, or hormonal disruption. If nutrient intake is insufficient, deficiencies can develop. When the eating window is too narrow, absorbing essential vitamins, minerals, and protein becomes challenging. Muscle mass may decline. Immune defenses can weaken. Women, in particular, may notice disruptions in menstrual cycles due to shifts in leptin and reproductive hormones. There's also a psychological edge to consider. What begins as discipline can sometimes slip into obsession. Control over food can quietly turn into anxiety around it. Science is clear on one thing: fasting is powerful, but it isn't universal. The danger isn't fasting itself, it's forgetting that food isn't just fuel, it's social, cultural, emotional. Balance, not extremes, is what keeps both body and mind resilient. Eating once a day may sound like a miracle solution, but biology doesn't deal in miracles, it deals in trade-offs. For some people, this rhythm unlocks energy, focus, and effortless weight control. For others, it triggers exhaustion, irritability, or hormonal instability. There's no single truth, only individual biology. Athletes may struggle to maintain muscle if they can't consume enough nutrients in one meal. Those with diabetes or thyroid conditions may face dangerous fluctuations in blood sugar or metabolism. Women, whose hormonal systems are more sensitive to energy restriction, may experience cycle disruption and chronic fatigue. Fasting is a tool, and like any tool, precision matters. On the other hand, individuals dealing with inflammation, insulin resistance, or early metabolic syndrome may benefit significantly. Controlled fasting has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers, stabilize blood sugar, and stimulate cellular repair. Findings supported by research from institutions like Harvard, Stanford, and the NIH. The takeaway is simple, but not easy. Eating once a day isn't a cure. It's a biological lever. Used wisely, it can restore balance. Used carelessly, it can cause harm. For decades, scientists have searched for the secret to longevity, the reason some bodies age slower than others, and what they're beginning to uncover may challenge everything we think we know about food, time, and survival. But that answer lies just ahead. Interestingly, many answers point back to the same principle: caloric restraint and metabolic rest. When the body spends less time digesting and more time repairing, something remarkable unfolds. It begins to preserve itself. Animal studies conducted by the National Institute on Aging suggest that periods of fasting can extend lifespan by as much as 30%. In humans, the evidence points toward healthier mitochondria, lower inflammation, and a delayed onset of age-related diseases. Fasting doesn't grant immortality, but it fine-tunes the machinery that keeps you alive. Beyond the physical, fasting reshapes the mind. Clarity increases, emotional balance steadies, and food itself takes on a new meaning. That first bite after 24 hours isn't ordinary. The senses wake up, flavors intensify, gratitude replaces routine. Hunger teaches restraint, and restraint teaches awareness. Maybe longevity isn't just about adding years to life, but about experiencing life more consciously. One deliberate meal at a time. Long before science named processes like autophagy or ketosis, ancient cultures practiced fasting instinctively. Greek thinkers like Hippocrates spoke of its healing power. Spiritual traditions across India, Egypt, and Japan embraced fasting for clarity and renewal. They didn't have research papers, they had observation. Hunter-gatherers didn't schedule meals, they survived between them. Their bodies adapted to cycles of abundance and scarcity, a rhythm shaped by nature itself. That rhythm hasn't vanished. It's only been muted by modern convenience. When we choose to eat once a day, we're not chasing a trend. We're reconnecting with a biological pattern older than civilization. And in doing so, we rediscover a form of strength modern life has nearly erased. That may be why fasting feels deeper than physical change. It feels familiar, a connection to ancestors, to instinct, to the ancient dialogue between hunger and survival. If you want to explore this even further, your immune system has its own powerful response to fasting, and that story reveals how your body protects itself when food disappears. But imagine this for a moment. If your body could speak after a full day without food, it wouldn't beg you to eat, it would thank you. It would whisper that, for once, it had time to repair, to clean, to breathe. Every cell would tell you how relief feels better than overload. How silence is sometimes healthier than constant noise. Still, it would offer one warning. Fasting is a tool, not a belief system. The human body was built for flexibility, to feast, to fast, to adapt. Extremes aren't evolution's preference. Balance is, eating once a day can awaken dormant systems, but only when guided by awareness, not obsession. Science has given names to these ancient instincts, ketosis, autophagy, metabolic switching, but their essence existed long before language. Fasting isn't about denial, it's about discovery. It reminds us that nourishment doesn't begin with the first bite, it begins with restraint. So if your body could leave you with one message, it would be this: feed me when it's time, but don't fear letting me rest. I've known how to survive far longer than you've known how to eat. If this journey changed how you see hunger, let me know in the comments. Would you try eating once a day for a week? And if you enjoyed uncovering the science behind what your body can truly do, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video so more people can learn the hidden language written inside their own biology.